And next up, we have the Texas State Teachers Association will be speaking for a few minutes. I believe they will not have questions afterwards, but then we will hear from our State Board of Education representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. And yes, I do have a couple of questions, so I'll include those at the end. So good afternoon. My name is Norma de la Rosa, and I am the president of the El Paso Teachers Association. We are affiliated with the National Education Association, and the National Education Association is an organization of education employees. We are 3+ million members across the United States. And we also include members who work with Department of Defense schools overseas. We are the largest based on an independent poll. The National Education Association is the largest and most powerful union in the United States. We also belong to the Texas State Teachers Association, and they are an affiliate of the NEA. And TSTA was brought into existence through a legislative act with the Texas legislature. And then I am with El Paso Teachers Association, and our organization was organized in the early 1900s, and we are the oldest teacher union or organization in EPISD. And so a lot of the issues that we deal with as a professional teachers union, not just here within EPISD, but statewide and nationwide, is social and racial justice. We want to make sure that there is equity in funding for all public schools. We advocate for all public school employees and our students, and we are masters of our own craft. We have the experience and the training that is unbounded by what other professions do as far as professional training for our teachers to do the job that we do in the classroom. We lobby at all levels, the national, the state, and the local level, to pass legislation that provides funding, equal funding, and equity in all aspects of public education. We are advocates for all of our education employees to be treated as professionals, whether they are a bus driver, the classroom teacher, the cafeteria worker. All of our education employees, we are a family, and we expect all of our employees to be treated as professionals. And we also expect that all of our employees, particularly our hourly employees, are paid a living wage. There is a lot that they do. Without a lot of our hourly workers, we would not be able to do what we do in the classroom. Our schools would not be cleaned. Our kids would not get that breakfast or that lunch that they may not get at home. Our kids would not get to school through the bus so that they could attend classes. So, and many of them are living below the poverty level. So we advocate that a living wage for all education employees. And we are also advocates for a safe and healthy learning environment for all education employees. And that is evidenced by the strong fight that we have put up since the pandemic, that in order for our teachers and our employees and all of our students to return back to the building for in-class instruction, there must be certain protocols and practices in place to make it safe for them to go back. So the history of public schools in this country is almost as old as this country itself. Public schools were instituted by our founding fathers to provide a free public education for its citizens. We have seen public schools undergo many major changes and shifts in policy, curriculum, funding, etc. over the years. So based on this very quick information that I've shared with you, I have two questions for our candidates. So the first question is this: what is the role of public education today, the expectations of public schools in regard to students' education, and how do you see our role as a union with EPISD and the Board of Trustees?
Thank you. We're going to limit these answers to 1 minute. If you need more time, we'll be flexible with you, but please get to the point. Very important question. If you need to repeat it, let us know. And the first one to answer will be from District 3, Josh Acevedo.
Well, at this point, it's an unfortunate state where we're at with our public schools, where we really need to be out there competing, because there's a threat of charter schools coming in, and charter schools have no business in our public school system, and we need to defend our public schools at all costs. As far as the role with the teachers associations, I think it's a whole system of governance. And so being on the board, there are certain issues that are going to come up. And I think always having the teachers associations at the table and making those decisions together, as well as the community, is absolutely important. And I think I've done that for the past 2 years effectively.
Thank you. Next, from District 4, candidate Betty Ann Halliburton.
Okay, let me address the last question that has to do with NEA's role. And I believe their role should be to lobby, because the states used to give more money toward our public school systems. They're giving less money toward our public school systems. And so most of the burden for funding has fell on the taxpayer. So I would like to know, how is the NEA lobbying with their union dues to help improve the state's responsibility towards schools?
Anything further? Okay. Next, we will hear from Frances Santos Whitaker.
Yes, as far as the role of the public schools, I believe that it's preparing our students to solve global problems at this point. We need to start working with our kids to accelerate our curriculum. And I believe with that, maybe offering some choice. We don't like the word charter, but if we have in-district choice, then that helps to bring our students to us. And then also it's important to provide our teachers with professional development to guide our students through this problem solving. And then also updating and maintaining our buildings. And I really believe that your role is to help us do that. And so we should become partners in helping with our teachers to prepare them and to give them professional development that they require. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, from District 4, also Fino Pierre.
Thank you very much for the question. That's why I'm running. As a progressive, I truly believe that public education is actually closely bound to the long-term success of El Paso. So when our kids get like a good education, they can thrive out there. They can get good jobs. They can create good job. They can make a good life for themselves. And that's why I'm in this fight. So I'm fighting for all those things. And I also, on my platform, I value the union voice, teachers, parents, and stakeholders. So I'm going to be very transparent with this. If elected, I will have monthly meetings. So I would invite the union to come out. It's a welcoming pace. So they can come in and discuss what they wanted to see. So that's where I'm running. So as a progressive, I truly believe in public education. So that's where I'm running. So thank you for the question again.
Thank you. From District 5, Willetta Corbett.
Good afternoon. The roles of schools today are always so that our students, our young people, have an opportunity to decide for themselves what kind of future they want to have, but that they have been at least given the basic academic thinking skills, opportunities to find out who they are and where they want to go. As our schools get better, our community gets better, and our city gets better. And in that way, hopefully our countries is better. I think what we've seen in the last 4 years is that something is amiss. And I would hate to think that some of that is in a bedrock, such as our educational institutions, but I believe that we have to bear some of that blame. In terms of the union's role, again, you're a bridge for your membership. And as you were very well stated, our non-certified personnel, our certified personnel, first responders of a district. So whatever you can do to bring and be share your voices with those in administration so that we can do a better job, that's what we want to hear and that's what we want to do.
Thank you. Next, we have Vanessa Betts. You are muted, Ms. Betts. Ms. Betts, if you could, there we go.
I'm sorry. Can I have that question repeated? I want to get clarity on what it is that you're asking.
Yes, ma'am. Said, what is the role of public education today? The expectations of public schools in regards to students' education, and how do you see our role as a union with EPISD and the Board of Trustees?
Boy, that's a complex question. However, I will try to take it as much, answer as much as I can of it. The role is of the students, of the teachers, first of all, are to prepare the students for when they leave the classroom and go into the world, whether it be into the military or whatever field that they go into. But the main thing I think I'm concerned about is that when we hire teachers, that we're hiring qualified teachers who are responsible enough to give them the knowledge that they need. Not hiring just to be hiring, but really hiring qualified teachers who think of education not as a business, but think of it as children first and trying to give them what's best for them to succeed.
Thank you. And next, Jerome Tillman.
I had a saying that I used to hang in my classroom, and it said, my job is to teach you the skills to pay your bills. America's every tomorrow, whatever we become as a community, as a country, it is in America's classrooms right now. Whatever we expect to be tomorrow, those prospects are fertilized and incubated in the classroom today. So our job, teach the skills to pay the bills, to become America's future labor force. And we have to make sure that we arm the students with the necessary academic, socioeconomic skills to do that. In terms of the union's function, the quality of policy decisions that we make on the Board of Trustees, we're based on the quality of information we get from the people who are on the front lines of making the education process feasible, workable, and effective. So I see your role is to make sure that we're getting quality frontline information to make sure that we are getting information to improve the quality of decisions we make policy-wise at the district level.
Thank you. And then next we have from District 1, Leah Hanani.
Okay, so as far as the union's roles, I think their role is to be a strong unifying body for teachers, but also to represent the interest of the public education system as a whole. And so trustees and unions can work together to create a public education system that not only works for children, but also impacts communities for generations. I truly believe that when teachers succeed, students succeed. I think trustees have a duty to protect the public education system as an institution, and it is my intention to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. And then next, Mr. Arturo Dominguez.
I agree that charter schools have no role in public school at all. The goal should be to educate and not make money like the charter schools do. And public schools have this responsibility to educate everyone within the district. And they are the building blocks for making good citizens within our city. The role of the union is to support the members. I myself been a member of the Federation for over 40 years. I also belong to the Texas Teachers Federal Credit Union. I really believe that a strong union is needed for a strong district. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have, I believe, next, another question from Ms. Norma de la
Yes.
Rosa. Again, candidates, you will have a minute. If you need more time, please feel to take that time. We just want the answers to be to the point. If you need, if you need a question to be asked again, please ask for that. Thank you.
All right, so our last question. Do you feel it is important that all EPISD students should be afforded the opportunity to learn about their culture and their history? And what would be your plan and vehicle that you would use to put this in place?
Thank you. The first person to answer that will be from District 4, Ms. Frances de Santos Whitaker.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I do believe that it is very important for the students to learn culture and history. And mainly, I would say that it should be done in the classroom, giving teachers opportunities to mesh the TEKS into the different cultures and histories, such as thematic units. I believe that students will be able to prosper from that.
Thank you. The next candidate will be Vino Pierre.
Can you ask the question again, please?
Do you feel it is important that all EPISD students should be afforded the opportunity to learn about their culture and their history? What would be your plan and the vehicle that you would use to put this in place?
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, indeed. Every EPISD student should have access to quality education that include to their culture. I mean, as an immigrant, so I'm part of my culture. So I think we should actually incentivize them to cherish their culture and study. How do I do that? So I would have to work with the new superintendent. So that's why it's critical that the superintendent is a byproduct of the community. Kind of like as mentioned or pointed out in this forum, have like cultural sensitivity, kind of like well aware that the good fabric of our community, that we're a community that welcome people of all culture. So that's something that I would definitely work with all the trustees elected and to address that, to see how we can implement something where every EPISD student will cherish the culture and thrive in that sense. That's something I fully support.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Next,
question.
we have Ms. Betty Ann Halliburton.
Yes, I agree with culture and history of the local school districts should be taught in the schools. However, in Texas, and if anybody's out there, you want to correct me, they have a textbook selection committee that decides what's going to be taught where. One good thing about the pandemic is now that children have access to the internet. So if they want to learn something different or enhance their history and cultural learning, they can go straight to the internet and do it. But it comes down to the teachers of history and government to put that into the curriculum if that's what they need and want.
Thank you. Next, we have from District 5, Vanessa Betts.
I'm sorry. When I think of the fact of teaching children history, I'm in agreement with the young lady who talked about thematic. I don't think that it has to be a thing where we have to do it as this is Black History Month, this is Hispanic History Month. I think we can weave this into the culture of our teaching curriculum. I think once we do that, then we'll have less problem with the separatism that this is one way and that's one way, and we'll see that we all share some of the same common value. So yes, I do think that they should learn about their culture, but let them learn about it within the thematic of teaching history, so that it's not Black history, it is history. That's my feeling.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Jerome Tillman.
Yeah, in agreement with the last speaker, I think I was Ms. Whitaker. Black history is American history, and Latino history is American history. Any other the subcultures are part of the fabric of American history. And I do think it needs to be woven into the curriculum. I think that as an organization, Ms. De La Rosa, that part of your lobbying efforts would be toward members of the State Board of Education. I know we have a representative here, and the kinds of questions that you're posing to us, specifically this one, would be also well targeted at those persons who will be candidates for the State Board of Education. We pick the textbooks we're going to use. We pick what goes into the textbooks that we're going to use, I believe, through the State Board of Education venue. Please speak to those individuals with the same level of urgency and commitment that you have with us. And I think we can together reap a better dividend in shaping a curriculum that encompasses the entire country and not just small segments of it. Those small segments of the entire fabric of the United States of America. And I think it should be taught.
Thank
Yes.
you. Next, Ms. Willetta Corbett.
Thank you. And if I don't have an opportunity later, I want to thank you, Ms. Carvajal and Mr. Miranda. I think there was another gentleman for helping to facilitate this forum today. We are a quilt, we are a fabric. Always, I think, stronger cooperation and ties between home and family help us to communicate and bridge all colors, all cultures, all conditions. If Ms. De La Rosa, if your organization or any of the other organizations represented here today, send an invitation to me because you were having an event of some sort that highlighted the particulars of your membership or what have you, I'd be happy to attend something like that. Public forum on the school board should be maybe once a month, have an opportunity to address each district's unique and special qualities and expertise within that community. That will help us all to learn more about one another. I've certainly learned more about the organizations that are working to make El Paso better. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have from District 1, Arturo Dominguez.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. De La Rosa, you hit me right directly into my heart. This is something that I love, the history. I feel that it is so important. I love this country. America is my country. Texas is my country. But more important, El Paso is my country. I love it.
That's
And
right.
we should always teach not only Texas history, but El Paso history. El Paso was here before the Mayflower came into our country. So yes, I do believe that this is an important subject that we should be teaching. There is so much history, rich history within El Paso, with the missions and all the events of the Mexican Revolution. There's so much history, events that we should talk about and provide this information to our students so they can feel proud of themselves, feel proud to become an American, a Texan, and an El Pasoan as much as I do. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Leah Hanani.
So I think that we really need to pay attention to ensuring that our curriculum is culturally relevant. Part of the way that we can do that is to pay attention to our legislative bills and how curriculum is affected by our governmental entities. At a baseline, though, I think it's really important that we commit to developing policy statements on diversity and cultural competency as a district. It's really important that we have a guide and that we create an action plan that will guide decisions on how we allow our teachers to become culturally competent and give culturally competent instruction to students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have District 3, incumbent Josh Acevedo.
So I touched on this a little bit earlier, and I think it's just so important to highlight that, you don't have to go very far back where we have certain individuals at the state level that have been trying to downplay the role of slavery in causing the Civil War, right? And so that's what we're dealing with. But I think at the local level, we have an opportunity to really get an anti-racist lens to select better curriculum, it's gonna be representative of, you know, these communities that have really been left out. We're not teaching that. And so I've already worked on something like this in the past year, and I need to follow up on it. It's been a few months since we've done that, but we were working with district staff to see how we could implement more of an anti-racist curriculum at the local level, right? And start there. And I think that's a great start. And I want to continue doing some of that work, hopefully if I'm reelected.